This is one of those stories. You either believe it or you don't. And honestly, because of the delicate nature of the matter, I can't confirm or deny whether I am the male subject in this story. Content advisory. This story is rated R and intended for mature audiences only. Due to strong language and adult themes, it is not suitable for minors and may not be appropriate for workplace settings. Listener discretion is advised. I had just gotten off work, tired, hungry, mentally checked out, and in desperate need of something sweet. Not food, not a snack. I needed chocolate. Immediately. So I made an emergency pit stop at Dollar General. Because listen, I ball on a budget. Don't judge me. This wasn't a financial decision. This was a life decision. When a grown man needs chocolate to save lives and protect his sanity, you mind your business. Most people go to the store, grab what they need, and leave. Me? Not so much. I walk around browsing because that's just what I do. I was locked in on which chocolate bar I was going to buy, like this was the Temple of Doom and the wrong choice would bring about the end of the world, when a soft voice cut through my focus like a record scratch. Excuse me. Excuse me. I looked around, and standing next to me was a little old lady, maybe about 67 or so. She was cute, but you could definitely see her age. She was trying to reach for Granny's old-fashioned oatmeal raisin cookies. I reached up, grabbed the cookies, and handed them to her. She looked surprised for a second, then smiled like she hadn't expected the help. "Oh my goodness, thank you," she said. "No problem," I replied. "Teamwork makes the dream work." She laughed, took the box from me, and said, "You just saved my day." "Happy to be of service," I said. She gave me one more smile, then went on her way. By now, I had been in the store about 15 minutes longer than I should have been, so I grabbed the candy I was looking for and headed to checkout. Now, if you've never been to Dollar General, let me explain something. The employees usually have very little motivation and aren't always the best qualified, but they're thankful to be employed. And unfortunately for me, said very sarcastically, I got stuck behind a heavy-set woman in one of those motorized carts who looked like she had turned checkout into her personal living room. She had snacks open, her phone on speaker, and 3 wild kids running laps around the aisle like it was recess. At the same time, she was yelling at them. "Get over here! Stop touching stuff! I told you to sit down!" Meanwhile, none of them was listening. The cart was beeping, the kids were yelling, the cashier looked defeated, and I already knew this was about to be a long night. When it was finally her turn to pay, she started swiping her EBT card. Declined. She tried again. Declined. She sighed, rolled her eyes, and started digging through her purse like the card was going to magically change its mind. Swipe. Declined. That's when I made the, "Oh my God, really?" face. Not trying to be judgmental, just mentally exhausted at that point. Then this guy stepped up and paid the rest. Respect. But then he looked at me like I was checking out his woman. Can I get a hell no? I looked at my new Dollar General friend and smiled. She just shook her head. She was older, yeah, but she was cute. Not glamorous, not flashy, just attractive and well put together. The kind of woman who didn't have to try hard because confidence was doing most of the work for her. And I'm going to be honest, like most guys, I had that quick, automatic thought. Yep, I'd beat the brakes off of old Granny. Look, I'm a guy. That's what we do. We evaluate. It's instinct. It doesn't mean anything disrespectful. It's just how our brains work sometimes. A split-second assessment before common sense kicks back in. I wasn't thirsty. I wasn't being reckless. I was just acknowledging the obvious. She was holding her own, and she knew it. Once we got outside, we officially met. Her name was Maria. I said, "Now you know oatmeal raisin is my favorite kind of cookie." She smiled. "Really?" "Yep, you should save me a couple." She patted my face and said, "Dear boy, I'm old enough to be your..." She paused. "Auntie." I laughed. "Regardless, let me text you later." Maria said, "I don't text, I talk." "That's old school," I said, "but I can adapt." So we exchanged numbers. For the rest of the week, we talked. I even got her texting. She became addicted to emojis. After our last conversation, I asked if she wanted to go out for drinks. She said yes, but suggested we meet up and drive separately. No stress, I said. So around 7 p.m., we met at 54th Street Bar and Grill. Friday night at 7 is the worst time. We waited about 30 minutes, just talking about our day. Eventually, we got seated and kept chopping it up. I told her, "You have to try the rattlesnake pasta." She leaned back like, "No." I laughed and waved my hand. No. It's blackened chicken or shrimp smothered in Alfredo. Trust me, it's fire." She shook her head, smiled, and started laughing too. Next thing you know, we're both sitting there cracking up like we'd known each other for years. Eventually, we circled back to when we first met. She said, "Oh, the face you were making in line." I said, "I'm not gonna lie. I was trying to figure out who was brave enough to deal with that every day, and maybe become a repeat offender." She laughed. Then she said, "So if nobody was around, you wouldn't?" "Absolutely not," I said. "If we were stranded on a deserted island, I'd swim back into the ocean and take my chances with the sharks." Our food arrived. We caught happy hour and talked for another hour. When the check came, she reached for it. I said, No, I got this." She snatched it anyway and handed her card to the waitress. Smiling, she said, "There go those judgy eyes again." I laughed. "At least let me walk you to your car." She nodded and we headed out. Luckily, she was parked right out front. I opened her door and leaned in for a kiss. She pulled away. I froze. "Sorry, too soon?" She smiled. "No," she said. "It's because we're heading back to my house. The date's not over, hun." She told me to jump in her car. She said she'd drive me back to mine because I had parked a few lots down. Now I'm supposed to be looking for my car, but I couldn't stop looking at her legs, her body, the whole situation. And that's when I started thinking, if she decided to take this ride to Space Mountain, I might activate her sciatica and have her walking with a limp for a day or two. She caught the evil grin on my face. "What's on your mind?" she asked. "I'm just enjoying the evening," I said. Then I saw my car. Saved by the Bell. Or so I thought. I hopped out, got in my car, and followed her back to her place. Not gonna lie, this was not a grandma house. She had no kids and was a widow. And honestly, by rule of thumb, I don't date widows. I don't think I could ever replace the man they lost. But that night, yeah, I made an exception. She sat me down on her couch. Soft, comfortable, definitely expensive. She disappeared into the kitchen. I heard her tell Alexa, "Secret Garden," and some old school R&B started playing. A moment later, she came back with a saucer and 2 cookies. 2. Now this is where you need headphones. She fed me one, and it turned into a passionate kiss. Then she started grinding, and yeah, my third wheel came to attention. She said, "Let's go, nephew." I swear I grew an inch just from that sentence. The bed was plush, real plush. When she came back wearing a silk teddy, I was like, oh, hell yeah. She had been hiding everything under those big clothes. Nothing sagged. Everything was tight. Music playing. Mood set. I was ready. She crawled onto the bed and sat on my lap. Then she asked, "Have you ever been tied up before?" That threw me off. "Oh no," I said. "That's when felonious situations happen. Stuff gets inserted where it shouldn't. Hidden third legs come out. I'm not trying to be part of the Me Too movement." She laughed. "You're not supposed to make me laugh. I'm trying to seduce you." Then she got on top and went to work like she was riding the wildest bull in the arena. Somewhere between a Kegel crunch and a yee-haw. 5 minutes later, I was done. Soul gone. My world rocked. I was officially a 5-minute man who got humbled by a granny in sexy panties. However, she was actually asleep. I wasn't, and neither was he. So I slid that teddy up and went back to work. I came back for redemption. I came back for revenge. Damn it, I came back for my self-respect. 5 minutes later, I was out again. The good thing is, Maria didn't hold it against me, thank God. We never made it a thing, but we stayed friends. And honestly, with her cougar skills, I felt like prey more than predator. If you are still here, you are saying, this story sounds too good to be true. And you know what? Maybe it is. But that's up to you to decide. At the end of the day, if you live your life off of hell yeah instead of what if, you might find that this type of thing isn't so uncommon. Either you take chances or you sit on the sidelines and spectate. Either way, the choice is yours.